God is the ultimate reason anything happens. Ultimate reason. But he's not the only reason anything happens. Okay? There's a big difference between ultimate and only. Okay? God is once again in the transcendent position as the author, the creator, the sustainer. We should not be ignoring all of the storyline level reasons behind why things come about or happen the way that they happen. Okay? Just because God is ultimately behind all those things does not mean that those things on the storyline level are not also reasons behind why things are happening and how things are connected.
That's by God's decree. And so they're born in that condition for factors beyond their control. They can't help the fact that they're born that way.
Can't help the fact that they're born that way. Yeah. Can you help the way that you were born? I think I've made this point all the way through. You didn't choose to be created. You didn't choose when to be created, where to be created, how to be created. I mean, we all know the verse where God says, who makes people seeing or deaf or blind? It's me. I do all these things. So, of course, God creates you in a particular condition, and that wasn't up to you. It wasn't under your control. I mean, you want to sit there and start talking about fairness and, oh, I need to be in control and this and that. Tell that to a blind person who's born blind. Was that up to them? Right? God didn't have to create them blind. He didn't create me blind. He didn't create you blind. Most of you blind, I would hope. But and this ridiculous, it's a true statement to say that those are the results of a fallen creation. Yes, it's the results of the sins of Adam. Yes. But that's a true statement. But that does not get you out of your false assumption that it's not under the control of God, because God didn't have to create people that way. I mean, if blindness and deafness are just the unfortunate results of sin, then why isn't everybody blind? Why isn't everybody deaf? Right? The point is, God is in control of who is and who is not born that way. He openly and blatantly declares it in the Old Testament by saying, who is the one who does these things? Is it not I, the Lord? And yet here you are talking about, well, if they're just born that way, ... insert, whatever emotional thing here, and that's supposed to be an argument against Calvinism. That's something any Christian needs to deal with. God creates people in certain ways, certain times, certain circumstances, with certain disabilities even. And this whole idea of, well, that's okay because God can wonderfully use those disabilities. And yes, he does, but not in the way that you think. This is, again, the difference between God reacting to everything, reacting to things that he doesn't control, versus planning and purposing things. When you look into creation and you see people with disabilities glorifying God, that is not because God made the best out of an unfortunate situation. That is God creating those people purposefully with those conditions so that he can use them in that way. This is worldview differences right here, guys. God is not reacting to a failed, unfortunate circumstance and just making the best out of it. Everything that comes to pass is planned and purposed by him, including how people are born, what condition they're born. And while we might not all be born blind or deaf, we are certainly all born as fallen sinners who by nature hate God and do not want to come to God unless our hearts are changed.